And in this, we need to invoke the label. So we're going to find out if the label actually needs to be invoked first. We do that by calling the invoke required. If the invoke is required, that's what we want to do. Is we want to invoke the label. If not, I can go ahead and put an else statement in here right now. Else, I just want to have the label read the text. But to do this, we're going to need another delegate. So we need a delegate with the same signature as this update message void here. We need the same signature, which would be this string message. So what we'll do is we'll create a delegate. We'll call it text callback. And we'll give it the same signature as the actual method that we're calling. And so now we can come over here and we can invoke this control. So we'll take label, we'll invoke it, still using IntelliSense, very good. And we'll invoke it using a new instance of the text callback. And inside this delegate, we need to recall the same method that we're working with, which is this update method, update message. Then we want to pass it arguments, and the way we do this is with an object array. We'll just pass it a new object array. Down here. We'll go ahead and put in the arguments, which is just going to be this message. I think that's it, and we'll probably just drop this down here. So basically what that's going to do is loop back through here. If we find out that the label does need to be invoked, we're going to go ahead and invoke it with the delegate, and we're going to send it the same message, and we're going to go right back to the same method that we're already using. Once it reaches this again, it's already going to be invoked, so this is going to fail here, and it's going to go to the else statement, and it's going to put the text in the else statement. So now all we need to do is add this information to the actual event that's being fired. So as far as events firing on the form right now, this is going to work, but when the job is done, we need to do some wrap up. So that goes to where we're going to start dealing with the run worker completed. And the two things we want to do with the run worker completed is we want to re-enable our run button, and we also want to hide our GIF that's showing. So we do that the same way that we did with our text box. We have to have a delegate that matches a signature, and in this case it's not going to have any signature because we're just re-enabling the certain items. So we use a private delegate void. We'll call this no arg callback, which means there's no arguments in there. And then we'll create the two methods we want to use for doing this work, which would be the private enable run button, and we'll ask if that run button needs to be invoked. If it does, we'll go ahead and invoke it. Call the new delegate. We'll have it reroute back to the enable run button. We'll add an empty argument array. Then if it is invoked, then really all we want to do is re-enable the button. So we'll run that. Oh, this needs to be a void. We'll run that in the run worker completed. And we'll create another method here. We'll call this the hide progress. This doesn't have any arguments. Again, we'll see if the item needs to be invoked, which is the pv progress dot invoke required. Again, if we need to invoke it, use that new delegate. Back to the hide method. Now I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but I'm trying to keep this very simple for this example. Another empty object there, and else we're just going to do the work. Very simple. I think I got a problem here with my argument. Oh, this needs to be a new object. That's why. There we go. And just a little happy no thing here is if you press the button Control-K-D, that automatically formats your code. It's really helpful. It's always been helpful to me, and that's a good little plus that you can get that will help you in your coding experience. I've found it very helpful. So now we're going to go back up here and hide the progress. Now, one of the things I like to do when my progress is done is I like to have a message box to allow the user to know that the job is done. And that should pretty much do it. Let's go ahead and save all of this and give it a run, give it a whirl. We have our form, we press the run button. We see that it's performing the steps and that the numbers are changing. And once it reaches the top, I can press OK. And you know, we did forget to do one thing. We forgot to empty out our label, which is okay. We can still do that in the run worker completed, and I'll show you how we do that. We don't have to create another method because we've already got a method for dealing with that text, and that is the message that we were working with, which is the, let's see what we called it, the update message. So what we'll do is we'll just update it to nothing. Send it an empty string, save it, rerun it, let's see what we get. I press run, we have the numbers moving, we see our little GIF, we get our message box, we press OK, and our form returns to its original state. I hope that you've enjoyed this short little demonstration on how to use events and controls in a really basic sense, and I hope it helps you in your day-to-day work.